When something happens on the stage of Donnie Swaggart Ministries during a live service, the entire audience notices it. People don't just listen to sermons at SBN, they study every gesture, every tone, every second. That's why a small moment can suddenly explode online, exactly like what happened with the now viral question, "Did Donnie Swaggart stop Josh Franks?" This single moment has turned into a storm of reactions, discussions, assumptions, and theories. Many felt something happened on stage. Others insisted it was nothing at all. But what truly happened, and why did it spread so fast? Before understanding the moment, you have to understand the personalities involved. Style. His preaching is bold, fiery, and authoritative. When he steps on stage, the energy immediately shifts. He leads with intensity and confidence, and for many people, that strong tone can be misread as dominance, even when he's simply transitioning a service. Josh Franks, on the other hand, has a completely different energy. His style is gentle, worship-driven, heartfelt, and sincere. When he sings, it feels soft and emotional. His presence carries humility, which is why audiences love him. He brings a peaceful tone to the platform. And so, when these two very different personalities share the same stage, the contrast becomes instantly noticeable. That contrast is exactly what made the viral clip look dramatic. In the moment that circulated online, Josh Franks was singing, creating a peaceful worship atmosphere. As the song continued, Donnie Swaggart stepped forward, took the microphone, and moved the service into the next segment. Josh stepped back respectfully, as worship leaders always do, and the transition happened smoothly. But online viewers froze that moment, rewound it, slowed it down, and saw something completely different. A strong personality stepping in, while a gentle personality stepped back. And from that, the internet created its own story. People began saying Donnie cut him off. Others said Josh looked caught off guard. Some viewers thought Donnie seemed rushed, but all of these reactions came from assumptions, not reality. In live church broadcasting, transitions like this happen constantly. Time is strict, camera cues are tight, segments are planned, worship leaders follow signals, hosts advance the service. This is normal, extremely normal. Nothing in the moment suggested conflict. There was no visible frustration, no tension, no disagreement. Josh didn't look upset. Donnie didn't look angry. It was simply the flow of the service. And yet viewers online grabbed onto the moment as if it were a dramatic confrontation. Why? Because Donnie's strong presence can appear overpowering in a quick clip. Because Josh's gentle demeanor makes him look easily overshadowed. Because social media loves conflict, even where there is none. Because people naturally create stories when they see contrasting personalities. But here's the reality. Josh Franks showed zero sign of discomfort afterward. He didn't mention anything publicly. He continued serving normally. Donnie continued leading normally. Nothing changed because nothing happened. This wasn't disrespect. This wasn't tension. This wasn't conflict. This was simply ministry orchestration, the natural rhythm of live church broadcast. Still, people online reacted passionately. Some defended Donnie, saying he was simply taking charge of the service. Some defended Josh, saying he should have been allowed to continue singing. Others argued that viewers were overreacting and inventing drama from nothing. The truth lies in plain sight. The moment wasn't heated. The audience just interpreted it that way. People forget that large ministries follow strict timing. Hosts must transition. Singers must yield. There is no offense in it. It's the system. Worship teams around the world experience the same thing every week. When the lead minister steps forward, the singer steps back. It's respectful. It's normal. Josh Franks knows it better than anyone. He has been doing this for years. This wasn't a stop. This wasn't a shutdown. This wasn't a problem. It only looked dramatic because the internet turned a tiny moment into a big story. In reality, Donnie Swaggart was doing his job. Josh Franks was doing his job, and the service continued exactly as it was planned. Sometimes a moment becomes viral not because it's real drama, but because people are hungry for drama. When two different energies meet, authority and softness, the contrast feels like a story. But the real story here is simple. A worship transition happened. The host moved forward. The singer stepped back. People misunderstood it. Nothing more. The moment continued to echo across social media even after the clip faded from the trending lists because people kept revisiting it, trying to find signs or hints of something deeper. That's the nature of large ministries. Even the smallest detail becomes a talking point. But what most viewers didn't realize is that behind the scenes, the environment at JSM is far more orderly, structured, and disciplined than people imagine. Nothing on that stage is random, and nothing that happened that day was unusual. In the days following the clip, fans of Josh Franks started asking whether he might address it in his next worship service or live stream. Many expected some indirect statement or subtle response. But Josh remained exactly the same, smiling, gentle, worship-focused, and calm. His behavior was the clearest proof that he took no offense, felt no embarrassment, and sensed no conflict. If he had felt uncomfortable, it would have shown in his body language later, but there was none of that. He sang with the same passion and grace as always, showing that the moment carried absolutely no emotional weight for him. Donnie Swaggart also continued leading services without any change in tone or energy. There was no tension in his voice, no unusual seriousness, no hint that something big had occurred. If anything, the following services were even smoother, proving that what people saw online was just a misunderstood transition. The internet created drama where the people involved showed none. But why do viewers often see conflict where there is none? The answer is simple. When you place two strong personalities in one public space, audiences subconsciously pick sides. Some people naturally relate to Josh's humble style. Some admire Donnie's boldness and leadership. And when these two energies overlap, every second becomes magnified. The online world begins to project emotions onto moments that carry none. The platform of JSM adds another layer. For decades, the Swaggart family has carried a legacy with millions of followers. Every word they speak, every look, every movement carries symbolic value for their audience. When Donnie steps forward, viewers don't just see a preacher, they see a figure with decades of family history behind him. And when Josh sings, they see a younger, rising minister with a growing fan base. The difference in position, age, and personality naturally triggers narratives in the minds of viewers, even if nothing actually happened. In truth, both men were simply fulfilling their roles. Donnie has always maintained strict control over timing. Everyone who ministers on that stage knows that when he steps forward, it's time to move the service along. And Josh, being experienced and respectful, understands these transitions perfectly. That's why he stepped back instantly and gracefully, not because he was silenced, but because he recognized the signal. It was professionalism, not tension. If people could watch the full unedited service, they would see something completely different from the viral clip. They would see smooth transitions, clear signals, and natural cooperation. Worship leaders and preachers work like a team, handing the atmosphere from one person to another like a torch. That torch changed hands in that exact moment, and someone clipped it at the most dramatic second. Even more interesting is how the online reaction says more about the viewers than the moment itself. People watching from the outside often carry their own emotions, biases, and expectations. Some come with admiration, some with criticism, some with curiosity. Their perception fills the gaps that the clip itself does not explain. A simple camera angle, a shadow, a look, or a movement becomes the foundation for huge assumptions. Josh's humility made some people read silence as discomfort. Donnie's authority made others read leadership as interruption. The truth was neither, it was simply ministry protocol. Another layer people forget is that worship leaders often intentionally pause before the preacher steps up. Sometimes they hear a cue in the monitors. Sometimes they see a movement from the host. Sometimes they feel the atmosphere shifting toward preaching. Josh is experienced enough to sense these shifts instinctively. His stepping back was not forced, it was smooth, intentional, and respectful. The reaction also shows how audiences crave narratives. When a moment feels mysterious, people create their own stories. In a world where clips go viral every day, viewers try to be detectives, reading expressions and signals as if they're uncovering hidden drama. But the reality is far less cinematic and far more procedural. Large ministries survive on order, structure, and harmony. Every team member, from the preacher to the singer to the camera operator, follows signals and timing. Without it, the broadcast would fall apart. Donnie Swaggart, being one of the primary leaders, carries the responsibility of keeping that order. Josh Franks, being a respectful worship leader, follows it without hesitation. If anything, the moment shows how seamlessly the team works, not that they clashed. There is also a deeper truth. If there had been a real disagreement, it would not show in a 1-second moment. Real tension leaks out over time, in expressions, in distance, in behavior, in future services. But nothing like that happened. Both men continued serving together exactly as before, proving the entire conversation was built on perception, not reality. People misread the tone. The internet magnified the moment. Fans turned it into a story, and the actual participants stayed completely normal. In the end, the moment will be remembered not because something dramatic actually happened, but because audiences turned an ordinary transition into a viral debate. It's a reminder of how easily the internet can transform a small gesture into a trending topic. Something people rarely consider is how different a moment looks depending on where you sit. A camera can capture only one angle, only one direction, and only one reaction at a time. But the people on stage see something completely different. They see the lights, the countdown clocks, the crew signals, the time warnings, and the larger service agenda. When Donnie stepped forward, he wasn't stepping into Josh's space. He was stepping into the next segment of the service. The camera angle just made it appear more dramatic than it actually was. Even more interesting is the way people began forming opinions about the personalities involved. Some argued that Donnie's leadership style is too strong, while others insisted his firmness is exactly what makes him effective. Some felt Josh's humble presence made the moment look more sensitive than it really was. But in truth, these interpretations are shaped by what viewers already believe about these men. Preconceived ideas fill in the gaps. For people who admired Donnie's boldness, the moment looked completely normal, even expected. For those who love Josh's gentle style, the moment looked abrupt or unnecessary. And for people who watch SBN with a critical lens, the moment became a symbol of larger issues they believed existed. But none of these interpretations were based on the actual atmosphere in the room. They were based on perception. A perception shaped by the viewer, not the event. This is the complexity of modern ministry in the digital age. Everything is public. Every expression is replayed. Every gesture becomes content. And because a camera can freeze a fraction of a second, it can create illusions that feel real. A shift in posture becomes a reaction. A glance becomes an indication. A pause becomes awkward. But real conversations, real emotions, and real intentions cannot be captured in a single moment. People also underestimate how routine such transitions are for worship teams. A worship leader stepping back is as normal as a singer taking a breath. It's part of the rhythm of service. Josh wasn't withdrawn. He was simply flowing with the structure. And Donnie wasn't dominating. He was doing exactly what a host is supposed to do. Move the service forward, maintain timing, and follow the predetermined order. As days passed, some viewers started revisiting the moment with a calmer perspective. When they watched the full service instead of the short clip, many realized it wasn't nearly as dramatic as it had appeared. The flow was natural, respectful, and organized. The emotional tension people thought they saw wasn't actually there, and the atmosphere remained unified. If you watch Josh's expression closely, he doesn't look upset, surprised, or uncomfortable. He looks exactly like a worship leader finishing his moment and yielding to the preacher. His smile remains calm, his eyes remain peaceful, his posture remains relaxed. None of these are signs of tension, they're signs of professionalism and spiritual maturity. Likewise, Donnie's tone never changes into anything harsh or impatient. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't show frustration. His face remains composed. He simply steps forward, says what he needs to say, and continues the service. His body language doesn't indicate annoyance, it indicates leadership. And leadership always carries responsibility. What made the online reaction so fascinating is that people began